Today I've done quite a few videos of healing, and this man joins the rank of healers whose voice would remind you of Enoc's voice in Wardruna. And to Nordic people and people of Norway, and Wardruna is a Nordic band very famous for Nordic music that almost reaches parallels just at times, not always, just at times, with the Celtic original music of vocals, instruments, ancient instruments, and stories to tell through the vocals and the instruments and the music, if that makes sense. And Geraldine is singing Jotumur, an official video today, and it's all about his vocals and a bit about the man himself, because I have been following him for quite a while, and I said, look, I have to bring him on board. He is a Nordic folk Viking inspired project created by the Dutch singer, songwriter and producer Jonathan Borensma. The name I'm going to say it right, Geraldine, is a combination of the Celtic word gale, white, and the Old Norse word deer. After discovering the music of Wardruna, whom I want to talk after the video, because people often ask me, why is there such a rise in Nordic music, and do I find it as healing as others? And I want to answer that question about Wardruna, Enoc's prominence, and what he says about Nordic music to answer that question. And for what it's worth, I always find Nordic music very healing, and the lyrics of the Nordic artists, particularly Aurora. But we get back to Geraldine. Now, after discovering Wardruna's music whilst facing hardships in his own life, and I'm really sorry to hear that, Jonathan, I really am, he began to understand the healing power of the music that can have in the soul. Hear, hear. I always say on my channels, where words fail, the music will win you over, it'll heal you. I always say that. Borensma, who has been making music for years, mainly in the pop genre, was keen to share his story through music. Inspired by the poet Idas and determined to keep the ancient Norse wisdom alive, Borensma released his first single, and I'm hopefully going to say this right, Ragnarok, on the fall of 2018. With the single, Geraldine built a steady following and signed with Danium's Fimble Records in January 2019. Two more releases followed, Othala and the EP Sia. Aside from working on his own projects, Geraldine has worked together with Danium on several occasions, aspiring to keep reinventing himself with more new releases can be expected in the future. So that is a bit about the artist's singing, because all you're going to hear is his voice, because that's the technique of fabulous, true, authentic Nordic music. Vocalists who just speak with their voices. I have connected to this video Lisa Gerrard, who is famous for Gladiator and her voice during that film. And she invented her own language while singing. And she's won numerous awards, she's been up for Grammy Awards, I think, all of it. And it's because of her voice. This man is as powerful as Lisa. Imagine Lisa and, oh wow, Geraldine coming together to sing a Nordic song. Oh, that would be so epic. There's something for you to think on your next project, young man. So, without further ado, let's listen and come back, and I'll pick up on the question that I was asked about Nordic music. Do I find it very healing? That kind of thing. But I'm going to be inclusive of mentioning in honor of lots of aspiring artists from Norway and Dutch and French who are on my channel who have been inspired by Nordic music. Why? So let's take a listen and enjoy. Wow, wow, wow. That was incredible. But I'm already chilled by Lisa Gerrard's voice connected to this video. Check her music out. It's equally as relaxing. Think of the voice from Gladiator and you will understand. And also, Matthias Fear is on my channel, uploaded with this video and Lisa's video, and it's all uplifting and healing music. I have never felt so chilled uploading 3 videos that I have, and you join that group, young man. You really do. Geraldine, you are on my channel for the future, and I'm going to give people that answer finally to the question before I finish. I'm just going to check on the time, and we're doing okay for time, but I still want to give you a background to why Nordic music is suddenly on the rise. Now, forefront of female vocals and lyricalists is Aurora, and Wardruna came along, and you've got the Siberian shamans, they play as well. But I'm going to give you a little synopsis of how Nordic music rose to prominence. In 2002, holed up in an attic studio on the majestic northern coast, Einar Selvik, a name that is so inspirational in Nordic music today. He's even sang with Aurora as well, Helvegen. Check that out on YouTube, you'll be blown away. He would create a trilogy of albums based on 24 runes of Elder Fathark, the world's oldest runic alphabet. The multi-instrumentalist eponemy kicked off with what's now the world's most vibrant underground music scenes. It really is. So many. I have quite a few groups, even a French group that is inspired by Nordic music. It's excuse me, everybody. Now, calling on vocalist Linda Faye Heller and Gail, with whom Selvik had played in black metal band, oh, I didn't know that, Gurgoth, he created the band Wardruna. And the first installment of the trilogy arrived in 2009. It was called Renjult, Gap va Gnuga, Sounds of the Runes, and the gap was vast. And he had taken several years to research and write and record. Each song told the story behind Nordic culture, traditions via dark and ambient folk, played on ancient string and horn instruments as well as animal hide drums, which is the influence Geraldine has taken. Not, people say he sounds very like Einar. I would dispute that. I think if all Nordic men sang an Einar song, there would be crossovers in their vocals, simply because there's a lot of crossovers in when people sing Irish songs and they're from Ireland singing them in Irish. There's no difference, or they take a Irish technique and sing it in Irish. There's a lot of crossovers in this world of music, and that just happens to be one of them vocally. But I wouldn't find it disparaging. I'd find it encouraging that if Einar decided to sidetrack and not sing for a while, we have wonderful male vocalists like Geraldine up there singing just as, not as, how can I put this, just as powerfully. And even with that track being able to touch you soulfully. So we get onto this. The connection to nature is palpable. You heard the beat of Geraldine's drum throughout that, and that kept the whole video going, the whole momentum going. And that comes back to nature, you know, the sound of the heartbeat. And you just look at the images in the video and you think how wondrous Nordic countries are. Are we forgetting that we all live in a beautiful world? If so, look at videos like this. And the melodies are overlaid with the sounds of gurgling water, howling, crackling fire, or vocals. When recording Lykur, named after the rune for water, Selvik delivered his vocals while standing submerged in water. And meanwhile, the recording session for the band's new album, Kivtrin, White Raven, took place in the forest and on the burial grounds. So you understand that he led the way, and a lot of bands started going into the forest and getting in touch with nature because they had wrote the music. They were doing lots of different things. But our healing, this is the answer to my question, comes from nature. Mother Nature is our healer. That's why we must protect the animals, the earth, the people, and must love each other and work with our neighbours and all be as one. We really must. And Nordic culture emphasizes that both in its music, ancient customs, everything. And that's why I love Wodruna, because they reinforce their beliefs that used to be everybody's beliefs. And we need to just take a leaf out of their book. Now he says you can almost call it method recording or method composing, where the instrument and the themes are the composer. And Giraldi's case, that's exactly how it's summing you up. Now, Selvig described himself as an animistic, a believer that all objects and living things possess their own spiritual essence. It subtly promotes the idea that nature is something sacred, something we're a part of, not rulers of. And there I'll leave it as to the answer as to why Nordic music is healing. Thank you for listening. Giraldir, you'll be on my channel a lot more. That was a beautiful, beautiful song. Giantmere means in English, land of the giants. Thank you, take care, don't forget to comment and like, and I look forward to hearing all the comments and seeing all the likes, and of course all together now, subscribe to my channel. Take care.